What's going on, everybody? Relationship expert Terry Duran, and today I'm going to be talking about a post that I put up on my page where it was talking about adoption. So I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to get logged in so y'all can hear all my thoughts from the beginning. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up or whatnot. All you that are watching on Instagram, I appreciate the love. Share the videos, tag your friends or whatnot, so they can hear the conversation too. Make sure you go check out my podcast, the More Than Love podcast. A lot of grown-up conversations that you can listen to and access on demand. So you can listen to it on your way to work, while you're at your desk, etc. You can download it at iTunes or Google Play. It's available on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. So a couple different ways that you can go about accessing it. But I try to reach out and collaborate with other people so y'all can get some different perspectives on different things and just have some interesting conversations. So if y'all have some people that y'all think it would be good for me to talk to or have some discussions with, reach out to me or tag them or something to that effect. Because like I said, I'm willing to work with whoever. All right, so I'm going to be talking about a post that I put up on my page. Where it says, so my wife and I have been together for 4 years. We have a child together. She has 2 from her last marriage. She asked me to adopt her 2 children. I haven't given her an answer, but I'm more towards the nay side. If we split, I just want to move on and parent my child. I would legally be responsible for the other 2, and I don't want that. Am I wrong for feeling this way? Now, when we talk about something like this, right? First of all, I want to give a props to the women that are able to look at the situation objectively and see what's really going on and being fair and reasonable about it. All right? Kudos to y'all for not getting in your feelings or making assumptions or whatever, like a lot of women do, right? The ones that have a problem with it. And so that's who I'm going to be talking about. The women that act like there's something wrong with this man not wanting to adopt her kids. All right. So first of all, when we're talking about an adoption, right? So he has 1 child. She's asking him to adopt 2 more. Adopting 2 more basically means that you're assuming all the rights and responsibilities that's associated with that child. Not the ones that are just indirectly placed on you for marrying a single mother, right? Those are 2 different things, right? When a man marries a woman that has children and she has custody of those children, he has to accept the package deal in order to marry her, right? You're going to have to have a home environment that's conducive to children. They're going to need a bedroom. You're going to have to do stepdad shit. You're assuming the role of stepfather if you marry a woman that has 2 kids, right? So, for y'all to be 4 years in, everything has to be going at least okay for y'all to have brought another child into the world and for her to be asking you to make a lifetime commitment to her other 2 kids, right? So the women that were making assumptions like, oh, if something happened, he would just not take care of them, or he just wouldn't do shit, or he don't love those kids. All those assumptions directly conflict with what this man has done for the past. They've been married 4 years. We don't know how long they've been together. We don't know how old the kids are, etc. So there are a lot of unknowns. But let's just take it for what we know about the scenario. She has to think that he's a good enough father that she wants him to be responsible for her other 2 kids, right? Can we agree on that? So if we're talking about a man who has good character and who's a good father, right? It's safe to assume that if something tragic happened to the mother, he's not just going to kick the kids out and be like, fuck y'all. I'm willing to at least go on a limb and give that benefit of the doubt. The idea that there is something wrong with a man thinking through a situation is completely illogical, right? And I talk about this all the time about women that try to judge a man for what they think instead of what they actually do, right? Women want to penalize men for what they look at, what they fantasize about, what they think about. Who in the fuck are you to judge and censor somebody's thoughts, right? And so she's coming to her husband 4 years after the fact, right? And putting a major burden on him and potentially creating a situation that can create a rift in the marriage. Because a lot of women won't be mature enough to handle it if he tells them no, which I'm pretty sure is why he's seeking advice, so he can get a feel for what the response will be when he tells her that's not what he wants to do. But the issue that I have with women that are acting like, oh, he's thinking about divorce, that automatically means this. That don't mean shit. It means he's thinking about all the scenarios that are associated with this additional responsibility you're asking him to inherit or accept, right? Okay, so let's just say hypothetically speaking, right? If you had a family member that hit you up and was like, hey, I'm trying to get this new car, but they said I need a cosigner. Will you cosign for me? Should you just automatically go into positivity mode and think, oh, everything is going to be great. They're just going to make their payments and it won't affect me at all? Would you tell somebody that's a smart thought process to go through when deciding on whether or not you're going to co-sign for somebody on a loan, on a vehicle, on an apartment or something like that? Clearly you wouldn't just tell them that, right? Clearly you would not tell them just think positive, and if you think about something negative, you don't love the family member or you ain't a good person, etc. Right? But there are women that want to do that to this man for thinking of, and think of, listen just let me just wait till I get all the information out, right? So there are women that are criticizing this man for thinking about the possibility that they split up or get divorced, when we know that the divorce rate is over 50%. So over half couples that get married end up getting divorced. And he's with a woman who's been divorced already. Right? So he's with a divorced mother of two. And the fact that he thought about the possibility that they could eventually get divorced, he's being penalized and demonized for it. That makes absolutely no sense. Everybody should be thinking about the possibilities of a scenario before they just make the decision to do it. Especially when they can have major financial ramifications, right? So now, let's do some critical thinking. If a man is being a good stepdad for 4 years, we have no reason to think that he's going to just all of a sudden stop being a good stepdad. They obviously got a place to live. He's obviously doing what is expected. He's obviously treating the kids with respect. He's obviously showing them enough love that the mother wants him to legally adopt them. Or the mother is trying to secure the bag. That's the terminology y'all use, right? Secure the bag. Whenever a woman puts herself in a position to be able to fuck over a man or take advantage of a man financially, it's called securing the bag. Meghan Markle secured the bag, right? Whenever we have these situations where a woman puts herself in a position to take from a man or benefit, she secured the bag. So, if a woman can triple the child support or what would be entitled to her from a divorce, if she gets her husband to adopt her 2 kids and commit to 3 times what she would normally get, she has secured the bag. All right? So, now, I remember a few weeks ago, I put up a post where a woman left her husband after he paid all the bills, but she went for like 3 or 4 years where she had already made up her mind she was leaving. She was just getting her credit together, saving up money, stacking up bread. And when I posted it, there were several women that were overwhelmingly supportive of this woman planning a long-term exit out of her relationship, that will put her in a financial win situation. That sounds very, very similar to a wife asking her husband 4 years in to adopt her other two kids. Right? And we have multiple people comment in the comment section stating that they know people that have went through this. They adopted some kids, got divorced, the woman went to court, now they paying child support on those adopted kids, like I stated in my comment. And so if we know these are possibilities, we're talking about a woman that's already been divorced, right? And she's coming to you 4 years in asking you to adopt her kids. Now, there were a lot of people that were saying this should have been discussed before marriage. Great suggestion. Why didn't she bring that up before marriage? Why didn't she ask him to adopt them before marriage? Right? Why not? Why wouldn't a woman ask a man something that significant? Why wouldn't you ask him that before marriage? Why wouldn't you discuss that before marriage? Because you have a lot more leverage when you have one of his kids and you're his wife for 4 years, and then you come to him with a unspoken ultimatum: adopt my other two kids, or we gonna have a serious problem. That's very likely to be the case. He tells her, nah, I want things to stay the way that they are. There's going to be resentment, anger, likely passive-aggressive behavior, and it could eventually cause them to end up divorced, where he would still take a L because he's going to have to pay child support and take the hit that most men take in a divorce. So it's crazy to see how some women are so quick to come up with logical solutions or logical explanations for women trying to put themselves in a position to win at a man's expense, right? Because if he's doing everything that he's supposed to do for those kids, why ain't that enough? Why isn't the expectation that while we are together, while we are married, you treat my kids like they're yours, and in the event that the marriage doesn't work, you provide for your biological child? What is unfair or unreasonable about that? I don't see anything unfair or unreasonable about that. Asking him to adopt your kids is securing more than that. That's why it's a fucked up position. It's fucked up for her to even come to him like that. Now, if somebody just says, hey babe, I've been thinking, I want to adopt your other kids so they can have my last name, or so, like, that's totally different. Someone volunteering to adopt your children is very different than coming to them with some, I want you to adopt my other two kids. Yes or no? Right? Because we know how women operate. When the man tells them no, we see all the assumptions and thoughts that are coming up simply from him thinking through the situation, considering the possibilities. And it's funny because women have this thing where they're always bringing up possibilities. They don't have any problem thinking about a man possibly cheating, right? They don't have any problem securing themselves or making sure that they're straight in the event of a divorce. All these things women do with thoughts on possible scenarios in mind, but it's treated as a negative thing when a man does it. That's the hypocrisy that I'm always talking to y'all about. That gets on my nerves and gets on most men's nerves for the most part. Because if a man is treating your children and y'all are married and they're living with y'all and everything is all good, that means he's living up to his role as a stepfather. He's using the resources at his disposal to provide for his children. Of course he's going to have a relationship with them. Of course he's going to do certain things with them, teach them things, help raise them. What more do you want from a guy? And so to act as if a man choosing to not adopt her kids means that he's somehow less of a husband or less of a stepfather is total nonsense. That is illogical thinking, and that is an unfair way to assess the situation, because he's doing everything he signed up for. He's providing for his wife and their kids, their family. That's really all you can expect from a man. A lot of women can't even get that. So it's just interesting when we see women expressing their thoughts and their feelings on topics like this, because it's like they instantly jump on the side of the fence that benefits the woman. And no matter what the facts are, no matter what the logic is on the situation, they find a way to penalize a man for simply doing normal things like thinking through a major decision, thinking through a major life commitment, like asking one person that got one kid, hey, accept the responsibility for two more. That's a big fucking question to ask somebody. And it really shows a sense of entitlement for women that would penalize you for not doing it, or have a problem with you for considering what that actually means. So it's interesting to see, like I said, these type of things, and I like having the opportunity to be able to point it out and explain why it's unfair or illogical from a male perspective. If you are with the man and he is doing a good job as a stepfather, accepting the day-to-day responsibilities of helping you raise your kids, you should be fucking grateful. You should be grateful, because that's not something that a man has to do. There are a lot of men that don't want to be stepfathers. There are a lot of men that would never marry a woman with two kids for shit like this. Because there are a lot of women that are simply trying to secure the bag. They're trying to get a six-figure dude that can provide the lifestyle that they want, that they can be able to benefit from while they're with him, and in the event that the relationship doesn't work out. So we see it every day. Let's see, we got somebody trying to join. Let's see what this is, man. So I'm trying to. All right, this is Beauty Colors. Let's see what you got. It says Chantel. Let's see what she got. Says she's unable to join. Will she adopt his kids? I seriously doubt. I've never heard of a woman adopting a man's kids. But I don't think that's a realistic expectation. You know what I mean? Like, people, if they want to do that so that they can get a feeling or a sense of security, that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? That is perfectly acceptable to do. But to bring somebody to present that potential conflict to a marriage 4 years in, y'all have a child, a biological child together, you're using your leverage and your position in his life to coerce him into doing something that he probably does not want to do, which would explain why you didn't bring this shit up before he married you. So, but these are the type of things that women do. You know what I mean? Like, we see situations all the time where women use leverage, use sex, use what they use. I'm gonna take the kids and leave. That's what happens. These are the type of scenarios where women use the things that men value against them. And then on top of that, they have the law behind them too. So he could tell her, no, I don't want to adopt the other two kids, and behave the exact same way he's been behaving for years, and she will treat it like it's a problem. She can treat it as if he's not doing enough, or have an attitude, or be passive aggressive, simply because he did not do what she wanted to. He didn't put her in a position to have additional security in the event that she wanted to leave the relationship. And we see that women can be very strategic when it comes to divorcing a man. That's why men have to think the situations like this through. What are the possibilities? What am I really signing up for? Because women have proven that they don't have a problem with putting a man in a position where he has to struggle to take care of himself, even if he has provided for her for years. I've seen men lose their house, lose their business. They have to move out the house that they've been paying for simply because they provided a woman with a certain lifestyle. That's how fucked up the law is. I mean, y'all boy Drake, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. That's exactly what he's talking about. The wives of some famous person get $130 million for being his girl and living a life of luxury for the entire time that you was with him. That's what happens. Yeah, some men have done the same thing, but it's so frowned upon. Women are so hot when a man benefits from the system. When Mary got a divorce and her husband's asking for spousal support, women are roasting him and flaming him and all this type of stuff. But that we don't get that same energy when a woman wins. When a woman's getting $50,000 a month to take care of 2 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, that energy is nowhere near the same when it's a man getting spousal support. So that's hypocrisy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not this. They don't treat the two scenarios the same. So, but I mean, it's a very sensitive topic. But again, it's one of those things where it's so easy to point out the hypocrisy or the inconsistencies that women have in their attitudes on these type of things because they make it blatantly clear. You know what I mean? Like when I talk about how they handle other situations, it's easy to spot the differences. Like I said, that scenario where the woman was planning on leaving her man for years, women were all for it, all supportive, talking about how good it felt to see a woman get over on a man and all this type of stuff. Let a man have been planning for years to leave his wife and try to leave her in a fucked up financial situation. Energy would have been completely different. So, Suave, man, what's up, man? Yeah, you should shoot me a DM, man. You one of the people I would invite to my podcast. I follow you, so I see some of the stuff you post, man. Let's chop it up on my podcast. Let's see. But has he done her dirty first? Man, we don't know the facts. We don't know who did who dirty or what the case was. All we know is the information presented to us. So all we can really talk about are the possibilities. And them getting divorced is a very realistic possibility. Him having to pay child support for kids that are not his is a very realistic possibility if he adopts them. Shit, in some cases, he may be required to pay for them just for being married to his mom their mom a certain period of time. So these are not things that men can just ignore. They're very real things that have very real consequences on men. So that's why I like to post this type of stuff to create the dialogue so we can actually see what the general consensus and what the general mindset is regarding these type of issues. And when we see that there's some unfairness or some illogical thought processes or some hypocrisy, I'm one of the people that are willing to call it out and deal with the backlash or whatever that comes with it. So I just wanted to, like I said, shed some light on the topic and explain why I did not feel like it would be a problem for him to tell her no or to choose not to adopt the kids, and why a lot of the assumptions that we saw presented aren't necessarily true and don't appear to be likely based off the facts of the situation.